pussy.
Wow! Oh, shit. Wow! Do you see this fish haircut?
Got it all.
That's terrorist shit, bro.
That is it.
This is terrorist.
That's terrorist.
This is terrorist.
Blood, fire, war, hate is everywhere, it's in our face. Blood, fire, war, hate, everybody's going insane.
Holy
Blood, fire, war, everybody, dead, 47. Blood, fire, war, hate, it's all around, it's in your face.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god.
You're fired.
Okay, you need to understand something here. First off, this is not about hatred of Arabs, okay? As easy and Ray Comfort have clearly demonstrated they are the answer to the Middle East conflict, since one of them is Jewish and one of them is Arabic, but they're united in the gospel. Now that we're past that subject, let's move on to the real issue, which is Shiite Muslim terrorism. Shiite Muslim terrorism. And I have to be very careful. You have to put an apostrophe after the I, because if you remove the apostrophe, guess what it is? So keep that apostrophe in there, okay? That's the violent form, guys. That's the violent type of Islam. It's the violent kind. It's the car bomb kind. It's the suicide bomber kind. It's the kind that it's the kind of Islam that flew airplanes into the Twin Towers, September 11th, 2001, sorry. Gosh, I'm old. Shiite Islam is the sect, is the denomination of Islam that has these violent radicals in it. Okay? You follow me? It's also called Twelver. And I think that has to do with imams. I don't know. Prophets. I don't know. This New York mayor is a Shiite Muslim from the Twelver denomination. The same kind of denomination of Islam that had people flying planes into the Twin Towers, the same kind of Islam that terrorizes the people of Israel in the Palestine-Gaza Strip border every single day. The same type of Islam that sends suicide bombers with dynamite vests into random places. That is the denomination. That is the version. That is the form. That is the sect of Muslim. That is the type of Muslim Mamdani is. And what you don't realize is that you just made him mayor of the biggest business city in the entire United States. You just made him mayor of the city that destroyed the two biggest economic the two biggest skyscrapers of economic power in New York City were destroyed by Shiite Muslims. Suicide martyrs. Insane. It's an insane religion. It's always been an insane religion by a counterfeit Gabriel that appeared to Muhammad in a cave in Arabia a long time ago. 600 years after Christ. It said, write the Quran because we need to make corrections to the New Testament. It's just like the Book of Mormon. And it was a polygamy type spirit. It was born in insanity. And it is an insane, violent religion. And Islam is intellectually not cohesive. It does not have a cohesive structure. It is not consistent with the Bible. Because it's not a consistent system, they have to rely on their Muslim pastors to interpret the Quran for them. I hear that most Muslims don't read the Quran. They don't read it. They go to the mosque and then they let the guy teach them. It's kind of like medieval Catholicism in that sense, where there's just a bridge between them and their actual scriptures. And because if they read it, they would read, oh my gosh, the Quran tells me that I have to cut Christians' fingers off. And all this time, I haven't cut one of their fingers off yet. It is a murderous, bloody, serial killer religion. It's a religion in which premeditated murder is blessed and called jihad, war, holy war. And it's a sick thing. You can't take premeditated murder and call it war. There's a difference. The Ten Commandments makes that difference. Thou shalt not kill. Thou shalt not kill. But the sands are stained with blood because of that gory religion. Jesus shed his blood once for all for the sins of the world. And thank God that dreams of Christ, not Isa, the God of the Bible, are coming to Muslims to turn them to Christ. But you should be afraid of Mamdani. He's going to empower, he's going to funnel funds to terrorist cells, not only in New York City, but towards all kinds of terrorist cells in the United States. That's what he's going to do. He wants to serve Allah, and he feels like this is the best way he can serve Allah. So you need to understand, this is what is the military oath? To uproot enemies, both foreign and domestic. This falls into this category. All right. This man is not an American at heart or in principle. He is a red-green union. He's an Islamic socialist, and he should be tried and convicted as such and gotten out of this country. That's what I have to say about that.
The pressure, no matter the attacks, I will not move on those principles. And I tell you, brothers and sisters of this masjid, that we have an opportunity, starting tomorrow for early voting until election day on June 24th, an opportunity to show that New Yorkers want that consistency. They want those principles. They want a belief in humanity. And alhamdulillah, in this city we have 1 million Muslims. 200,000 of us are registered as Democrats. But in the last election, only 7% of us voted. Now, I will not judge anyone in our community because often it feels like there's not much to vote for. But this year we have an opportunity. We have an opportunity. And I can tell you, I began this race at 1%, and today I am just 2% away from Andrew Cuomo. 2% away from City Hall. 2% away from making history. And that is why every day a new Republican billionaire puts $1 million into this race to attack me. But I know that I have something they do not have, which is the support of people across this city. So I ask you to tell everyone in your life that this election is here, to tell them what's on the ballot, and to tell them that we as Muslims deserve what every other community deserves: equality and respect. But we know that in this city and in this country, we are not going to be given those things. We have to win those things. And one way we win them is at the ballot box. So I ask you, when you go and vote, remember, it is our opportunity to show that Muslims don't just belong in New York City. We belong in City Hall too. Thank you so much. Assalamu alaikum.
Come on, you forgot you're in the mosque? You forgot you're in the masjid? What's going on here? Just one.
You're fired.
Muslims are expecting to hear from God only through dreams or visions. Even the Prophet Muhammad received, according to Islam, revelations through an angel, not directly from God. So who am I to receive a message from Allah, is how a Muslim would think. But dreams and visions, they are expecting to hear from God. We actually had a special prayer called Salat Istikhara that was designed to ask Allah to give us a dream for guidance. I had one vision and 3 dreams. The first dream was a very symbolic dream. It was confusing to me, but at the end of it, I thought, okay, God, I think you're telling me to become a Christian, but I need something more clear. And so God gave me a second dream that was far more clear. It was actually a parable right out of the New Testament. God put me right in the middle of it, and I had never read that section of the Bible before. It was from Luke chapter 13. Christ was going through the villages speaking the good news, and the disciples asked him, Lord, are many going to be saved? And he said, make every effort to enter through that narrow door. For many, I tell you, will try, and few will be able. In my dream, I was standing at a narrow door, looking at a feast, wanting to come in, afraid that the owner would come and start before I could get in. The third dream, I was on a set of stairs coming up and out of the mosque. The people around me were actually people that I respected highly in the Islamic society that I was a part of, but they were all sitting below me or behind me, which in that symbolism meant they were not as far along the path of truth as I was. I was on my way out of the mosque. I did not hinge everything on the experience of these dreams, but they were confirmatory for all the evidence and the research that I had spent years on.